Added to which, South Africa ranks in the top 4 most expensive producers in terms of nitrogen, phosphate and potassium fertilizers. And fertilizer makes up between 30 and 50% of the commercial farmers' input costs.
For an industry that relies so much on fertilizer as an input, to be that high up in terms of competitiveness for fertilizer, it puts us in a very difficult space in the grain and oilseed market to be able to compete.
Farmers didn't really have a choice in terms of fertilizers. There are 3 producers in the country with their own pressures, some of whom rely on imported raw material.
Our local producers, where we have natural resources, I have to say there is space for a better performance, I would say. But for guys that rely on imports and produce market products for our farmers, I think in that space there's lots of competition and it's a fierce market.
While input costs dropped dramatically, the exchange rate conspired against farmers in South Africa.
The problem we've got is at some stages, especially the times when our farmers had to purchase, the rand-dollar exchange rate didn't do that well. So with the weaker exchange rate, we didn't see that decreases that were seen internationally.
And it's all about competition, especially in the grain market. The irony is that South African farmers had a bumper crop this season, while the exchange rate remained high. Some farmers hedged the exchange rate, many others didn't.
Given the current lower prices, as well as the levels where the input costs will be, one can only imagine that most of the farmers are squeezed, but the proportion of that number will really be clear over the coming months.
Farming is not for the faint-hearted, and when those input costs are dropping in foreign countries and they aren't dropping where you're farming, it's a problem because it puts a pressure on your margin. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Pretoria, South Africa.